I never thought something as simple as my garden could be ruined, but it happened, and it was my ex-wife's new husband who did it. My garden had always been my sanctuary, a place of quiet refuge where I could escape the turmoil of life. After Emily and I divorced, it became my only solace, a patch of peace I could tend to, a small world I could control. The flowers bloomed in rhythm with my thoughts. The trees stood like old friends. For months, it had been my haven, a place where nothing could touch me, or so I thought. It started with the moving truck. At first, I thought it was just another family settling into the neighborhood. I had grown used to the comings and goings of people, their lives passing by like distant waves. But then I saw her, Emily, stepping out of the truck, her face the same, but somehow different, and beside her, a man I didn't recognize. The shock hit me like a punch to the stomach. They were moving in next door. I stood frozen, trying to process the absurdity of it all. My peaceful world shattered in a heartbeat. Tom wasn't anything like me. Where I kept to myself, he was loud, always laughing too hard, his voice carrying over the fence. He had that brash, confident energy, the kind that made you want to either be friends with him or punch him in the face. I watched as he unloaded boxes with Emily, his movements exaggerated, his jokes too big, his smile too wide. I felt a tight knot form in my stomach. He was the kind of guy who needed to be noticed, who wanted to make an impression. I couldn't stand the way he looked at me, like I was something to be conquered. I tried to stay out of their way, but there was something about him that made me uneasy, a gut feeling that I couldn't shake. The tension between us was palpable, though neither of us spoke of it. But I knew, deep down, that he would become a problem. It started small, just a few tire tracks on my lawn, faint, like a careless mistake. But even that small intrusion felt like a violation. I felt my blood pressure rise, the frustration creeping up my neck. I brushed it off, telling myself it was an accident, that Tom hadn't meant to drive over the grass. But the next week, it happened again. This time, deeper tracks. And the week after, even worse, his truck was parked halfway onto my lawn, the tires pressing into the soft earth like they owned the place. Each incident felt more deliberate than the last. I didn't want to believe it, but the signs were there. Tom wasn't just careless. He was testing boundaries, seeing how far he could go. I tried to stay calm, but the growing sense of unease was undeniable. Was this just an accident, or was something darker at play? Then, one afternoon, it happened. I heard the roar of Tom's truck engine before I saw him. But when I did, my heart sank. He was barreling through the garden, my garden, his tires crushing the flowers I had painstakingly planted. The blooms that had once brightened my days were now flattened, their vibrant colors lost under the weight of his disregard. I stood frozen, unable to move, as he sped through the garden like it was nothing more than an obstacle course. My heart broke, the loss so sharp it almost felt physical. The flowers that had been my refuge, my source of peace, were destroyed. Emily, standing in the driveway, didn't even flinch. She merely smirked, as though this was some kind of joke, something to laugh about. I could feel the weight of the betrayal deep in my chest. But what stung the most was the realization. This wasn't an accident. This was deliberate. Tom had done this on purpose. My sanctuary, my peace of mind shattered in an instant. I wanted to confront them, to yell, to fight back. But something told me it wouldn't do any good. It was the beginning of something bigger, and I had no idea what would come next. I couldn't let it go. The anger burned through me, pushing me to confront Emily, to demand an explanation. When I stepped into their yard, I tried to remain calm, but I could feel my hands shaking. Emily was sitting on the porch, as if Everything was normal, like she hadn't just watched her new husband destroy something that had meant the world to me. I took a deep breath. "Emily, what the hell is going on?" I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Why is he doing this?" She shrugged, her expression vacant. "It was just a garden," she said, her tone dismissive, like it didn't matter. Tom walked up then, all swagger and arrogance, a mocking smile tugging at his lips. "What's the problem, man?" he asked, his voice oozing condescension. "It's just some flowers, no big deal." The words hit me like a slap, and I realized then that this wasn't just about a garden. It wasn't about flowers or a truck. It was about control. Emily and Tom were trying to push me, to see how far they could go. And in that moment, I felt small, powerless. But a part of me was determined not to back down. The next few days felt like a weight pressing down on me. The sense of disrespect lingered, gnawing at me. I couldn't let them win, couldn't let them take this from me. My garden wasn't just a garden. It was my sanctuary, my last piece of peace. If I let them destroy that, I let them destroy me. I didn't know what I would do yet, but I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't going to back down. I would fight for my garden, for my peace. The battle had just begun, and I would do whatever it took to win. As I watched Emily and Tom from a distance, something inside me hardened. This wasn't over. They had crossed the line, and I wouldn't let them ruin my life. The tension between us remained thick in the air, but I had made up my mind. The real fight was about to begin.